We are going to have possibly one or two, I will call them trick questions, or ones that will take a lot of thought. And whoever gets the answer gets the prize. Okay, I think what we're going to do, these two tables are this, you'll be the first row, second row, third row, fourth row. First row, if you don't answer it, we keep moving until someone does, or I will tell you. Okay. Can anyone tell me who served as our freshman class officers? Table one. Roll one. Oh my goodness. That's only been about 54 years ago. Okay. Give. President John Spear. Vice President was Bonnie Bobbitt. And our secretary was Carol Portel. Okay. Name, second row, 3 men who served as Washington County Sheriff. Surely you meant sheriffs. Or you stayed away from them.
Is that what time period?
As far back as you can remember, I have 3.
Sonny Richards?
Sonny Richards was one.
Gary Yunt, yeah.
But he wasn't in our era. Come on, guys.
Chris Harmon?
He wasn't in our time either.
Andy Skiles? Not our time.
Les Nicholson, I heard that.
If you weren't in trouble, you wouldn't know those names anyway.
The other one I had was Thomas Allen. That goes way back. Okay, row 3. What was the name of our school paper in 1965? Trojan paper. All right. Row 4. Who were the Hurricanes? PHS Hurricane. Yeah, but you're in row 3, but that's all right. You're right, Ted. Row 1. Okay, we'll go to row 4. What 3 students received nursing scholarships when we graduated? I heard Betty, Anna, and what was the third one? Okay. You have 2 out of the 3 right. There was Betty Barton, Sandra Richards, and Sharon Tedder. Okay, in the 60s, row 1. Name 2 Potosi police officers. No. That's not what I remember. He may have been. This goes way back.
Is it still row 1 or any one?
Does row 1 give? Slim Sutton was 1. He was 1, but I didn't have him down.
Arthur Coy?
That's okay, it's the right answer. No, Wayne was after that. I had Chick Williams. Okay, row 2. Who was selected as Miss America in 1965? I didn't all easy.
Close enough.
I think so,
yeah.
Does anybody have a guess?
Can't think.
1965.
Was it Meriwether?
No, it wasn't Lee Merriweather. No. I understand he's running next year. Or she, whatever. It was Vonda Van Dyke from Phoenix, Arizona. Okay. Row 3. Sportsman who won the World Series in 1965.
That would have been.
Dodgers is right. Row 4. Who portrayed Alice in Trojan Land for our 1962 yearbook? I heard it back over here. That's okay. Bricky is Greece. Okay. Row 1. What event took place in 1963 that caused complete silence throughout the whole school? Assassination. Right. What did President Johnson create to help the war on poverty?
Great
This
Society.
is row 2.
Great Society.
What?
Great Society.
No.
Sure was.
What did President Lyndon Johnson create to help the world war on poverty? I'm sorry.
Welfare?
I'll give you a hint. Most of us are using it.
Social Security?
No. Medicare. Okay, row 3. What was the average cost of a new house in the 60s? Brand spanking new. No one.
Average?
Average.
18,000. No, 3,500. All right, John.
John, what did you say?
I didn't say that, Margaret.
Oh. It was $13,600. What was, row 4, the average income? I remember it wasn't enough.
10,000.
Yeah.
Who said 6,500? It was 6,450. Okay, row 1. What was the average cost of a new car?
What year? What year?
In the 60s. All these questions pretty much is around our 65, 64, maybe 61. The average cost was $26.50. Okay, how much was a loaf of bread?
19 cents.
This is 21. I got these for 1965, most of them. So. What about gasoline?
1968.
What? 35 cents.
It was 31, Gary.
Yeah.
What was the theme of our senior prom, 4th row? You're close. The Grand South. Row 1, and so help me if somebody doesn't get this right. Who was elected king and queen of our senior prom? Right. John Spear, Bonnie Bobbitt. Okay. Row 2. What place did our class float win in the 1965 football homecoming parade? Wasn't first.
How about second?
Second is right. Okay, who was our superintendent?
Mr. Wells.
Did it?
Yes.
It was supposed to be in our freshman year. Mr. Wells is not correct for our freshman year.
Mr. McKee.
Mr. McKee, no. Long. Mr. William Long. And then Mr. Wells and Mr. Cheney will be superintendent and principal for the following years.
A reminder that she has a 20-minute time limit.
I brought a stack, so it's going to take me all 20 minutes. Okay. I just want to say that this has been a journey. It has been one of the best journeys of my entire life working with this reunion. I couldn't ask for a better experience. I couldn't ask for a better group of people that worked with me. My job was easy. All I had to do was bark out commands and call them to make sure that they were doing what they were supposed to do, and they did all the work. So all the other committee people are the ones that really deserve a big hand. I know you've already done that, but please give them another one. Actually, I give credit to Sharon Tedder for getting the ball rolling. About 3 or 4 years ago, Sharon started, she and I used to communicate all the time on email. And she would say, Mary Jane, we've got a 50th reunion coming up. We need to start working on that because it's going to be here before we know it. And she was right. And I kept saying, but Sharon, I wasn't an officer. I think officers are supposed to do that. So the next year, Sharon says, Mary Jane, we got to start working on a 50th reunion. I said, but officers do that. Well, anyway, 2 years ago, or maybe it was 2 years ago, Linda Blair Darty said, let's start a Facebook page just for our class. And she set it all up, and it really worked well. We were able to communicate with each other. We could post messages for each other. We could put down, different things that we wanted to do. So that was working. But time was rolling, and we were getting closer to this year. And so last year, in 2014, in August, I was going up to St. Louis. And so I contacted a lot of people who were on my Facebook that I knew were somewhere in the area. And I included Jim Schutz, who was all the way down in Atlanta. And he came all the way to St. Louis. Anyway, we had the best time. We met at, I think the name of the restaurant was, what was that, Sharon? Hometown Buffet. I was so excited that morning. I met Sharon. I made her go over to the restaurant an hour early because I was afraid that somebody might get there before we did and they wouldn't know who we were and we wouldn't recognize them, and we were just really nervous at that point. But Sharon cooperated. We got there an hour early. I had made some signs that I was going to hold up that said, we are from Potosi, class of 65. Well, she convinced me to leave those in the trunk. She brought her yearbook that was more recognizable. So we sat there and waited for the people to come in. There were about 10 of us, and we held up the yearbook, and amazingly, we actually recognized each other. But when we got there, I wanted them to reserve a table for us. And I found out that people who live in St. Louis or the county don't travel very much. they don't really know what's outside of the county. They didn't know what or where Potosi was. They had never heard of it. And so they said, well, we'll put a sign on the table that says, welcome class of 65, Potosi. Well, I always pronounce it Potosi. And so that's how they spelled it. P-E-T-O-S-I. So I thought, okay, we need to educate these people a little bit. But anyway, we had a great time that day. We got reacquainted. We spent more time laughing and just enjoying the day, the meal. I don't even remember what I had to eat that day. It was just such a fun time getting together. Some people said, but I want to come and I can't come during the week, so we decided a month later to have it in Potosi, or Potosi. And we got together and we actually started organizing for the reunion. We had a great time that day too. We met at Boo's Market, and I had drawn out a chart of committees that I thought that we needed, and I asked for volunteers, and that's how we really got started. Everybody was so willing to volunteer to be on these different committees and to do the work. And I said, I can't be here because I live in Tennessee and I can't be here all the time, but I can be on Facebook and stay in touch with you. And that's what I did. Several people have said, I know you, you're on Facebook all the time. And I am. But I'm not ashamed of that because I don't really have anything to do. And I don't feel like I'm hurting anybody. Larry still gets attention. I make his meals. I clean the house. He gets that part done. And then I can chat with my friends, my Facebook friends, my classmates. And I enjoy that. That's just one of my highlights of the day, to be able to do those things. Let me see, where was I on this? We had a great time, though. But all of this really started 50 years ago on our graduation day. The day that we graduated, we got our diplomas, and we were independent. We were on our own for the first time in 12 years. Some maybe 13. We made it. We graduated, and we were having to make our own decisions. We had to decide, what were we going to do? Were we going to go to college? Were we going to join the military? Some had already made those decisions. Were we going to get married and have children? Were we going to do all of that? And so, all of a sudden, there were lots of decisions, and there wasn't somebody who was going to plan those for us. Up to that point, we had teachers and parents who were planning a lot of our lives. They were telling us what classes we needed to take, what subjects, we're going to prepare as best for what careers we thought we were going to have. Just a lot of things that now we had to make those decisions. I was one of those chosen to give a speech. We were one of the first classes. I think 1964 was the first class that did their own graduation ceremony, and we were the second. We had our own, the people who did the music, those who sang, those who played instruments, those who gave speeches. We did it ourselves. We didn't have somebody else come in and do it. We didn't have a guest speaker. I was one that was chosen to give a speech that night, and those of you who knew me at that time, I was so scared. My voice was trembling, my knees were knocking. I couldn't even begin to tell you if I said it correctly, and I don't think anybody even listened to my speech except Mr. C, who was our speech teacher. I believe he was the only person that night that really listened. We were so excited about graduating, we really didn't care what somebody was saying. But my speech that night was about the fifth freedom. FDR had his 4 freedoms. There was freedom of, okay, help me out here if I can remember. I think I wrote them down somewhere. We had freedom from fear, freedom from want, freedom of worship, and freedom of speech. But my fifth freedom was the freedom to be free. And that's what we were embarking on. Freedom. We were free. Nobody was going to plan for us anymore. We were on our own to make our own decisions. And it was a really scary time, at least for me. Now, I was shy. And some of you have remarked that I changed, and I did. I don't know how, I don't know when, but I did change. I managed to get rid of my fears. Well, and I did. I'm still shaking up here. But I did get rid of a lot of my shyness. Somewhere after graduation, when we found our independence, we overcame some of the problems that we had encountered in high school. We developed our senses of humor. Some already had it, others developed it. I became the person that I wanted to be when I gave that speech. I became the person who was free to make my own choices. And I owe all of that to the excellent education that we got at Potosi High School.
Suzanne, I've been led to believe that you have something you wanted to contribute? No? You're changing your mind. Oh. Okay, who else would like to come up and take advantage of the open mic?
Who has a funny story about something that happened in your high school years that you'd like to share? Gary, you want to say something? Gary, you want to say something? Oh,
It'd be about her.
No, that's all right. You have to go up there and share each
I was going to just mention a couple stories that I know. First of all, there was two or three that I was going to tell on Claude Evans. But he said his members of his congregation were present. And I should not go through and tell those stories.
I tip my hat.
So I'm not. But I did wear my class ring tonight. I couldn't get it on the finger. It should go for some reason. But I got it on this finger. And Tom, was this our first round ring that we had in school? Yeah, it was. Well, there was a vote on the rings, and it was very close. Now, I wasn't in on counting the votes, but I heard a rumor that it was fixed. Tom, can you verify that?
Absolutely not.
I didn't think so. I didn't think so.
I was a Boy Scout.
Yes.
I cannot tell lies.
That's right. You cannot. And by the way, I am deeply I don't know how to say this, but thankful for your mother, my den leader as a Cub Scout. Because I stayed in scouting after I got out for about 25 to 30 years. I was active in it and loved every minute of it, even as an adult, training other adults. It was fun. But I remember that little boat. And I remember Mrs. Fatchett's class where we had to read Time magazine every week. I got so tired of reading Time magazine, but I still have a subscription to it. And then I was telling David's wife, I said, or my wife, I said, she said, well, who's this David Weiss? And I said, he's the guy that sat in front of me in every class. Because we always had to set alphabetical. So there's lots of little, I remember the cafeteria. I cannot remember when Joanne and Sonny were not holding hands or sitting together in the cafeteria.
Sit together.
Yeah. And thank goodness for Facebook, because people have said, I recognized a few people when we came in, and a few people I recognized right away. I don't know why, but there's something there that I knew about you. But I would not have recognized John Spear without Facebook. And we spent a lot of time together, but I did not recognize him. I don't know what happened to his hair. I don't know what happened to his athletic build, but it's gone.
I'm not gonna tell you what all that.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I think, there's a lot of other stories. So I know Elaine probably has some, so why don't, no? Oh, come on, Elaine. Elaine was my neighbor all the way growing up. I do remember her being Goldwater's campaign chairman, and I was LBJ's campaign chairman. In the middle of the night, I snuck over and I put LBJ stickers on their cars. And so we had a little rivalry going on there. But I can tell you that the person I am today is probably because of not only you, but your parents and how they influenced us and how they played a part in our life. And get on Facebook and let's share more stuff, because there's lots of times that you get to hear about other people and what they're doing. But it was a great time. I loved it. I can remember going out to, one time we went out to Mrs. McKinney's farm for a picnic, and the horses were out in the corral, and some of the girls were shocked because there were a few horses that were in the breeding process. And that was an interesting experience for some of them. I don't know whether they've been on the farm as much as I have, but it was interesting. Bucking hay, I bucked hay for $1 an hour, I think. And I don't know who it was, but I remember one time we walked out and we went out Old Highway P someplace, and we had put in eight hours total. We knew we were going to have. The guy said, well, come on over, and my wife has fixed lunch for us. So we had a big old spread, lemonade and everything. It was great. We laid down, and that evening when we got paid, he said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He charged us for lunch.
I'm not going to tell all them times, Jerry, but I remember them. Some of the things we used to do on Sunday afternoon down the creek behind your house.
Oh, yeah.
Who was those? Oh, never mind. I did have a couple of things I wanted to get straight. First of all, one main thing I want to say is I didn't realize until I got older and this old how lucky we all were as young people to be raised in this community and particularly in this school system. Most of you have seen it, a lot of you in this school itself, but I have seen it with my kids and grandkids in schools in other states, other communities. They're not half as good as this school is here. We had the best teachers that you'll find anywhere. And I understand this still, it's an ongoing thing, it's still that way in PHS. But we had teachers that were concerned about us not just as students, but as people.